Why is your new business pipeline and your renewal workflow 26 steps long? My mind, my ADHD mind, right? If I have to scroll 3 times to see the sold stage,
yeah,
it looks too far for me to want to even get it to that damn sold stage. So on a producer's mind,
that's a lot of moving buckets. Yeah.
Huge?
Yeah.
I want to be
that makes sense.
Here's the subtask for this stage, subtask for this stage, subtask for this stage, sold, confetti. Look, everybody, Mitch sold a policy, on board.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited. We're here at the VIP podcast. You made it. You're here with us hanging out, and we got a live one going on. We're all on one today. I got some energy in the room. I got 2 of the hypest men in our business on the show right now.
You may want to turn down the volume. Like, it sounds normal right now, but it's going to get real hype.
No, I was going to say turn up the volume and rip the freaking knob off. Just rip it off. And just we're going to go. We're going to go. All right. I'm excited. I've had my 2 shots of espresso, got a cup of coffee.
Well, so backstory, Heath discovered espresso 2 days ago. I didn't realize that there was anyone in the world who didn't know what espresso was.
Wow.
And,
what a big moment.
he had 2 shots of espresso, or was it 4 shots of espresso?
4 shots, yeah.
4 shots of espresso.
Whoa.
Yeah, he took it quick.
And I was like, do you remember the Micro Machine Man from the 90s? That felt like me yesterday.
It was amazing.
It was wild.
We've all known, we know what espresso is.
I don't know. I'm an espresso virgin.
Did you say espresso?
Espresso?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Espresso?
I'm trying to do an intro here, Sid. You're
espresso. I did probably say espresso.
Both.
I'm from Southern Illinois, baby. I'm from Southern Illinois.
I'm trying to do an intro here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to do an intro here. I'm trying to do an intro.
All right.
Well,
we're rolling
the
anyway.
Best one ever.
It's going to be amazing.
The best one ever.
It is. So, point is, we're jacked and ready to go for you, the audience. And guys, I've got Chief Technology Officer of Virtual Intelligence and the Insurance Alliance hanging out, and the CEO of both that is hanging out with us today as well, and Jason Cash. You've probably listened to him on podcasts. You've probably seen him on stages. You've probably just know who they are because they're both amazing guys. And can I say, controversial, maybe hot take, I think Jason had the very first insurance podcast ever in our space, so that may be controversial, but I'm going to go ahead and put it out there.
Yeah.
No, I think that's right.
As far as we well know, there might have been somebody else, but as well as we know, no one with the real Slim Shady, please stand up.
Right.
No
Boom.
one stood up yet.
So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mitch and Jason. What's up, boys and girls? Hey, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Hello. I'm here.
You're here.
At the Big Orange Podcast.
Yes, the Big Orange Podcast. I'm excited. The podcast is growing. We're seeing more subscribers. We're seeing more downloads. We're seeing a lot of things. So I'm excited to have you guys on because I wanted the biggest audience possible for you guys because we got a lot going on. You guys have a lot going on. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and, Jason, hang out with me for a minute. I want to throw some love to your boy Mitchie over here because a lot's changed for you in the last year. A lot has changed for you. You've changed agencies, not maybe over the last 18 months. So you've changed agencies, you've changed career path, you've changed a lot of things. Talk to me, in your young career, what have you been in the business, 7-8 years? And you have just blossomed into a lot of big things. What's been going on? What's your mindset been? What's been going on with you and where are you at now? Talk to me about, there's no question here. It's just a matter of giving you some time to talk for a minute.
For sure. Well, thank you for giving me the stage for a second. So I have been with the Insurance Alliance and with Virtual Intelligence now for almost 7 months. Actually, I think exactly at 7 months to this date. So a little bit less than a year, but within the last 16 months, prior to the last 7, I was with an agency, HRM Insurance, great agency out of New Palestine, local mom and pop. That the brick and mortar agency, where I would say I learned 90% of everything as far as on an insurance standpoint, from what an HO3 policy is to what a CG2037 additional insured by required contract on a commercial lines general liability policy was. So that's something that, the base of the foundation of my career has always been on the agent facing side, right? Selling insurance, customer service, answering the phones, cold calling, the whole 9 yards. Well, I think for me, I really truly enjoyed it, but I also enjoyed being creative, getting the creativity mind out of myself and building things. Heath, I think you had me on your podcast last year on the Insurance Town podcast. And I think we discussed the lack of creativity out of my day, right? Like I just was waking up doing the same thing, call. I didn't feel like it was my same person. I was getting tired of writing insurance. And I think everybody gets to that point. They're tired of writing insurance. It's creating pipelines so that I could write more insurance because I could only write $30,000 a month with the technologies that we had. You name it, right? So for me, when Jason kind of just blindsided me, and at the end of August, beginning of September, this past year in 2023, saying, hey, I've got an opportunity. I've been asked by many people to leave and go work for them, and to go work for a tech company, go work for a marketing company, all within the insurance space. But there was just one thing that never made sense to me. It was, I loved the fact of taking the quality of being an insurance agent, providing a service, providing somebody that can be that, hey, I'm going to call my agent when there's a claim, when I need something. That I loved that feel, and I still believe in that concept to a certain extent. It was going to be hard for me just to take my heart away from it, and I'm glad I didn't make any dumb leaving decision prior to 7 months ago. Let's just put it that way. If I would have left prior to 7 months ago, I would have made the wrong decision. So I'm glad I was patient with it and stayed my course in what I truly believed in this insurance industry, and wasn't just going to chase a shiny object or going to chase a bigger dollar sign, because it's more to that than me. So when Jason and Travis brought me on 7 months ago, it was kind of like, hey, here's the keys to the castle. Go try to make it better. Go try to make it more efficient. Go clean stuff up. And it has been just that for the last 7 months. I found out a lot about myself, that this is the environment I thrive in. Having collaborative help with people in our agency that believe in the same stuff, no matter what age that they are, 20 to 60, doesn't matter. We all want to make things better. We all want to use technology, but we also want to make sure we're delivering an efficient product with a quality of service to the clients. So being able to mesh those together for me has been great, because every day, guess what? The best part about my job right now, I don't really have to sell insurance. And I mean that in a great way, that I think that was the missing piece. I was spending too much time doing that, where I wasn't getting the best version possible of myself. Now in an environment where I can be as creative as I want and can pretty much build and say, hey, Jason, this is what I think is going to work best for us in this situation, has been nothing but a blessing in disguise, but also makes me feel good in my heart that I've made the right decisions and adapting to something that's going to be more long lasting in my career, because we all see it, right? Insurance isn't sexy all the time. It's not the sexiest thing to do and want to sell insurance forever. And I knew I didn't want to sell insurance forever. If you asked me 6 months ago if I'd be the chief technology officer of virtual intelligence, I would have said, there's no way. But that has happened within over the last 3 to 5 months as well.
Yeah, I got to jump in here.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And I got to jump in here for a second for a couple of reasons. Number one, I know you said, the words blindsided you there, but I remember the first time I ever heard of you, Jason deemed you as his mini-me. So he's had his eye on you for a while. He knew the talent, that you had. I know that wasn't, I think Jason's very intentional in everything he does. So I think he's been watching you and seeing what you've been doing and mentoring you along the way. But Jason, I got to pivot to you and ask you, I've been in a lot of agencies. A lot of agencies through your mastermind and through everything. I don't know a lot of agencies that have a chief technology officer out there. And especially for a VA company, I don't know, like technology you don't think about with a VA company. So tell me your mindset on that, and like bringing in a CTO, for an insurance agency. Is that a new trend you're seeing, or are you just ahead of the game on that, and that's just something you thought about? Where'd you come up with that? Talk to me about that a little bit.
A lot of stuff that's been invented in the world just comes out of necessity and need, right? You just need it. And so that's where it came about. So I think, I remember we went through this in the 2012s, 2015s, where you needed to have a CMO to be successful, right? To drive the business. And what we found out is we obviously know as insurance agents, we really don't spend a lot on marketing anyways, and we're already really successful. So that was there. And I think that there's still people that need a CMO, and I think it serves a purpose. Everybody's going to need a CTO, because everybody has to have technology.
That's a hot take.
It's just the way it's going to be, And so that was the necessity for it. Now, how we got with Mitch was First of all, I've known Mitch for 2 or 3 years. I watch him. I think one of my strengths in life is I'm very good at knowing people's characteristics and their skills that they have, whether they know it or not. And sometimes they know it, but they don't realize that they're not using it the correct way. So I love being able to find those people. And what had happened is I had a great gentleman that worked at our agency who kind of took Agency Zoom on himself. And he just started building it out a little bit, didn't really know what he was doing much, worked a little bit with Austin. That's what he kind of did. Well, when he left, we realized real quickly that things broke after a couple of days. Things needed fixed. And Travis and I are looking at our team and staff, and we're all insurance agents and stuff. But Jason Cass, he's the one who's on stage talking about all this technology. No, I see the vision. We use the programs and know if they work or not, and if they're going to work in any type of agency. We see that. But as far as Jason, like setting this stuff up and putting all the technology together, oh my gosh, no, that is totally not me. So then I think back to myself. Most agencies need a CTO, some type of tech person in their agency to take care of the tech day to day. And most people will listen to this and they'd say, well, I don't think that that's true. Well, it is absolutely true. You're really going to have it because in order to do it, it has to do with agencies that use AI are going to replace those that don't use AI, right? It's those different types of things. So if we're starting to go there, if we're starting to realize that we need to scale, the only way we can scale is through technology. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to use technology, we need it to be able to work seamlessly. Not everything works as good as AMS 360 and Agency Zoom together. That's a little plug that I'm throwing out there because you guys know they don't work perfect, but I'm throwing a little niceness out there, okay? But no, let's get back to it. But seriously, AZ and AMS 360, there's other things that work in there. We have to have somebody that has vision. That's not a strength of mine. I'm a good insurance agent. I know how to run a business, but I don't know how to put all that together.
No, you
last. Okay. Steve Jobs said this. Steve Jobs said, I don't hire smart people and tell them what to do. I hire smart people and have them tell me what to do.
Love that.
Therefore, I hired Mitch and I have Mitch tell me every day what we need to do in order to be the top. That's why you need a CTO.
There you go. You got something there. Get it.
I was going to say, I hear you on the integration piece. And for those listening who haven't heard of Agency One, that is the purpose of this initiative. It's launching. It's coming to life this year. We teased it out last year. But the idea is we recognize that agencies have 8, 9, 10 different pieces of technology, many of which are Vertafore products, and they have to work better together. They have to be more seamless. They have to have better integration so there's less manual entry, less issues with training, et cetera. So Jason, hear you, and we are working on it, sir.
Yeah, you'll be able to at some point in time move from AZ to Agency or AMS 360 to all our different products and not even notice you've moved from one to the other. It's all going to be seamless.
All of your products or all of the products?
Well, as of now, it'll be all of our products. And then in the future, it'll probably, I can't speak to that, but I know the first initiative will be all of our products.
Yeah, so we'll never
You can't speak to that. I'll speak to you for you. Yeah, it needs to be to all the other Orange Partner products too. There you go.
Absolutely. We'll never be able to make outside vendors, force them into a UX design, because part of the beauty of being an insurtech vendor is that you get to design that UX how you want, right? So it won't look and feel the same if it's an Orange Partner, but from an integration standpoint, from a potentially a login standpoint, there's some elements there that we can make them a little more homogenous, right? So we're working on that from a product standpoint.
And speaking of that, one of the things, Cass, you brought up a good point about Mitch and, his technology acumen and whatnot. Early on in his career, when I was talking to him at his other agency, he ended up, like Mitch, you can go ahead and tell some of this, but like you end up, from what I remember, paying for some technology yourself out of your own pocket and saw the value in building out some of that stuff. And not to knock on a former agency, but you saw such value that it came out of your own commission to pay for some of that and other technology as well. Is there any way you could talk to that a little bit and maybe some of the things you did with Agency Zoom that you saw such a valuable piece, and if you brought any of that over to the agency, the Insurance Alliance?
Yeah, so this is actually a really brief and quick answer for you because
You
I
can't
do
answer
remember
anything
that
brief. Good try. Good try.
We'll time you.
Yeah, I
Go.
know.
Yeah, there's no way.
Hey, that's a flaw. I'm working on it. That's why I'm saying it so my mind can hear it and I can shut up sometimes.
I love it.
Yeah, the agency I was at, I still love those guys. They've been very, very nothing but helpful with me
100%,
during the transition too. So it's been great. One thing that you talk about the different styles of agency. There's the agencies that go and just buy it and let's try it. And then there's those agencies that are like, nah, we need to let's just see how things wiggle out for a little. Not that they don't have the money or the revenue or the cash flow to do it. It's just that it's not an immediate fix in their mind. So I took the reverse approach to it and said, let me go try to, pat someone's back to get a free month or two, right? If I could. And then I'll pay out of my own pocket for what that subscription cost was, out of my pocket for a month if I have to. But my goal was to build out something that was going to help me write more business, but manage those leads that were coming in from my mortgage and referral and realtor referral partners. By doing that, I was able to take my monthly premium from $30,000 to about $45,000 a month in closed premium, take what I built, present it to the agency owners and say, here's why this is a pertinent piece of technology that we need to use. Here's the numbers. They don't lie. Here's what was previous. If I didn't use this, boom. They then saw, wow, this is an added value. Thank you. Good hard work. Loved it. They started taking over that payment, reimbursed me for those 2 or 3 months that I paid and said, this is gold, right? So for me, it was trying to write more business and put more food on the table for me and myself and my family. But at the end of the day, it was something that I truly enjoyed doing and showed them that you can also write more business with the help of technology if we're doing it right. Now, what did I bring over? Right? One thing that I believe, and I will go to the grave with this, especially with now seeing many agencies Zoom accounts and their pipelines. Why are they so long? Why is your new business pipeline and your renewal workflow 26 steps long? My mind, my ADHD mind, right? If I have to scroll 3 times to see the sold stage,
Yeah.
it looks too far for me to want to even get it to that damn sold stage. So on a producer's mind,
That's a
why
lot
would I
of
want my
moving
pipeline
buckets.
to be
Yeah.
huge?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to be
That makes sense.
Here's the subtask for this stage, subtask for this stage, subtask for this stage, sold, confetti. Look, everybody, Mitch sold a policy,
Right.
on board.
Not to
How
mention,
many-
that's a lot of automations to set up too, to have all that
Correct.
happen with the 26
Right.
stages. Yeah, you're about to say.
How many stages do you have?
Now.
Right now, we've narrowed it. I will say we had at one point our personal lines new business pipeline was 13 stages. Now it's 6.
Wow.
go.
Cut
Yeah.
it down by. So you built in the functionality that you had in the stage section,
Correct.
but you just
Correct.
built the system out differently, right? You used like tasks and automation and other things.
Instead of it being like a here's what we're currently working on stage, we did a here's what needs to be done. Is how
Right.
we labeled our stages, right?
Here's
What
what-
needs
yep.
to be done next? If it's needs quoted, there's going to be automated tasks that go to the VE that says, hey, VE, new quote needs to be done. Here's
Right.
all the information and data.
Yeah.
Go do it.
So,
right?
dude,
and then the next stage would be proposal created or ready
Yeah.
to present. And it's a task to the producer to go present the proposal, call the client, set up an appointment.
Yeah, what's interesting is I think a lot of people think when they see those pipelines that producers or service people, if you're using Service Center, so it works the same way, that they work out of the pipelines. You actually don't. You should be working out of your tasks. You should
Bingo.
go into your task dashboard and see the 5 things that you have to do today versus, oh, I'm going to my pipeline and trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing and where things are. Like, that's the mastermind behind the pipeline setup is like the way you've set it up is perfect, dude. I love that. Oh, taking us to church.
Yep.
Well, and
Closure,
what you
man.
just said was really knowledgeable. That as an agency owner, you really speak to. We know that you know what you're talking about when you say that, because the pipeline is being used as a visual representation to manually trigger different sections to happen.
Well
but
said.
yes, your
Better
task
said.
list. Where are you going? Well, no, you said it, but where the task list is what you should be looking at, because based on, and it's just a very, very good thing. I wanted agencies to really hear what you said about that, because that is a very, very important thing. Don't get overwhelmed with that.
Think about this real quick, Sid. And I didn't learn this until I got into this technology role, right? And head of technology. When we have a computer issue or someone's got a software down, the EMS 360's client configuration hasn't been downloaded or updated in the last 6 months on their computer, as someone who needs to know that issue, how do I know that there's a problem? I don't want a Teams message. I don't want an email. I want a tasker to do that says, help me, Mitch. I can't get this downloaded. Boom. Because guess what? I am task-oriented. We're task-oriented people. CSRs are task-oriented people. So quit putting it in things for it to get lost. Teams is a absolute black hole for things to get lost if you are not assigning a task to what you're discussing about, right?
Well, I love me some Teams though too.
I do too.
I love me some Teams, but it's dangerous, as he's saying. You can put the wrong information in the wrong spot, and then it gets lost.
Keep it simple. I always, just like I coach baseball, I try to, before a game, it's either going to be a 5:30 game or a 6 o'clock game. I've got a 5:30 etched out schedule in the dugout. I've got a 6 o'clock p.m. etched out schedule. Why? They're high school kids. But guess what? If I write it in Crayola Crown, they shouldn't mess it up. So if we put things in Crayola Crown terms, keep it simple and basic, it's going to be more effective than what you guys think.
Yeah, I love what you're talking about here, and I think you're on a great spot here. And I wanted to pivot a little bit, Jason, to, I'm assuming, and it happens when you assume, but the mastermind, that you guys have going on, it's still growing. Things are still going well there, and you're still talking to a lot of agencies on a regular. Some of the conversations that you're having right now that you guys are doing in-house there, is that some of the stuff that other agencies are doing out there, and you guys, preaching that? Is that something that a lot of agencies are doing, bringing in the CTOs, talking about some of the pipeline stuff you're doing? What are you hearing out there from other agencies involved in your mastermind that comes to your trips and do some of the things you guys are doing?
We're right at the beginning of that. So we're as an industry, we're going through a morph right now. So for the last about 5 to 8 years, we've really kind of come together to share who we are, to try to find out who we are, to find out what our client looks like, what technology do we need for them, what is my agency going to look like in the future, right? That's the kind of stuff that we've just been trying to figure out. But guess what? We kind of know now. Around 22, 23, this is the reason why we've had a decline in our conferences. It has to do with the fact that you're going to start to see more conferences and smaller. Here's the reason why. Now agencies know who they are. Now I know who my client is. Now I know the tech stack I need, and I've bought it. Now it comes time I need those who are like me, a lot like me, to get together, because I need to be able to learn actually how to use all this stuff now, so I can reach that client that I know is the client that we're going after, right? So we're kind of morphing. And so I think to answer your question, that's why these little sessions and these little groups are becoming very important. I really truly believe that like a NetView, these user groups that are out there, they really, really can grab the bull by the horns right now, because they're needed more than anything. Agencies actually know today. They actually know today who they are more than they did 2 or 3 years ago. Now it's, how do I use this behemoth? And guess what? Jason Cass was there in 2023, and I went and hired a CTO. I mean, we're all there. We know who we are. We just need Mitch and his genius to put that together.
I can't hold Sid back any longer in the reins. You got. I know you're getting excited over here. You're speaking her language right now.
So for those who haven't been watching the conference circuit, some context here. We had IAOA's Innovation. IAOA was a group started by Nick Ayers and Brandon Smith.
Brandon Smith,
and
Grant
Dave Jackson.
and Dave Jackson.
Gosh, it was 8 years ago now, 7 years
been a
ago.
minute.
And it started
2014.
2014. It started as 20 people in Orlando. They grew the Facebook group to, a couple thousand people, I believe. And the value prop there was, hey, this is all agency owners. It's all decision. It's people like you. It's not, salespeople, service people, et cetera. And the conference blew up. I mean, the best year I think was Vegas. They had an insane amount of people. The experience, the show was awesome. And it went from this hype machine to being canceled. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not even, there's no hope for it, even coming back to life. The leaders have moved it to different places, and so that conference died. I'm trying to think.
There's Agency Success. I don't think it's coming back.
Agency Success is not coming back.
Our friends that did the
Bradley.
Bradley and
One
City
Scott.
World Tour.
City World Tour.
But they're just so busy in their agency. But still, that conference isn't happening anymore.
Yep. So there's a lot that just kind of died, for lack of a better term. And it was like COVID hit and there were no conferences. And I think everyone expected this surge to come back, and it's kind of like trickled in and then almost hit a low, I feel like. And it created this vacuum or opportunity for something new. And we've all been trying to figure out, what is it? Right? Like, what does the next generation of the conference circuit look like? And I love that take, Jason. I love that.
It is.
The reason
it's
why
totally there.
Yeah.
And during COVID in 20 and 21, agents always used to say, and that we found out they weren't lying. Mm-hmm. Agents used to say, you know what, if I had enough time, I'd do that. If I had enough time, I'd do that. And we think that they were just making excuses. Mm-hmm. And then when COVID came along for 2 years, they had a lot of time. She did a lot. Mm-hmm. She worked her agency like she always wanted to, and got these things and started to realize, because we had time to focus for a minute, to say, wow, all the stuff I've been learning, I already know who I am. Now it's time to put it together. And that's who we are. So now when you see IAOA break apart, it actually broke apart into 3 or 4 or 5 different groups. No one should take that as a bad thing. That's progression on us finding out who we are and connecting with those people. Because at the end of the day, we just all want to have a good customer experience, because it makes the independent agent look good to the consumer. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And to your point, I can't scroll through my LinkedIn feed on a given week and not see. My mastermind group met last week. My mastermind group's here. So you're seeing these little pockets of agencies, whether it be 12 or 13 people or 100, whatever it might be, meeting together. And then, as you all know, on this show, my wife runs a state association, and she's shortened her conference from a week long to 2.5 days. And we've seen a huge jump in attendance and people saying, great conference, this, that, and the other, because agencies don't have enough time to be out of their office for a whole week. And then you shorten that down, you give them that value, punch them real quick with some good stuff there, then get back to the office, implement it. So I think, to your point, another reason, I'll say this before we move on, because Mitch is ready to talk. One of the reasons we wanted to bring you on is because you're not afraid of a hot take. You're not afraid of saying what you mean. And we love that.
Yep.
And I love having the OG, the man.
And Jason has the perspective too of having seen a lot of it, like years, right? I mean, a decade plus at this point of cycles that the insurance industry has been through. So it's always interesting when you give me a hot take. I'm like, okay, so that's what's going on.
You have your finger on the pulse in such a way that so many people don't. And I know it's intentional. You have your hands in so many different things. I love that about you. But Mitchie, you've leaned forward. You leaned in. Hit me.
To feed off of what you just said, it's called passion. And in my opinion, that's what it is, right? It's passion. And the passion you have for something. And I always think somebody needs to strive find something to be passionate about, community, your kids, whatever it is, and always have your finger on it, right? Always trying to find the next best thing, the news. What are the current events? Current events, thrive off of what we talk about and what we do in the insurance industry. Heck, there was news that came out. Here we are on recording this when the news came out about the FTC banning the non-competes.
Oh my
right?
gosh, crazy.
Things are switching up.
Yes.
But the one thing you talk about conferences, and I'll stop, is what I've noticed about conferences, it's like the not-for-profits in communities. I don't know if it's just our community or if it's it's got to be every, right? What's the common denominator that not-for-profits do amongst all other not-for-profits in their communities? You guys know that? You guys know an answer for that?
I would just say,
what's the one common denominator that they're always fighting against or fighting for?
Attendees?
Wait, hold on. What was the question again? That not-for-profits?
Not-for-profits locally.
Yeah.
Right? Are always fighting and competing for something. What do you think?
Money.
Dollars.
Grants,
Okay.
dollars, donors,
Right.
donations. Think about in a world where all of our not-for-profits came and collaborated together and helped out do all of those services. That's how conferences have been, in my opinion. Conferences are like not-for-profits. They're all trying to go after the same vendors. They're all trying to go after the same speakers. It's the same boring, same stuff that we see at every conference. That, in my opinion, and they don't like to collaborate. So collaboration, I think, one, will help with attendance and providing that value, right? And two, quit thinking that your conference is that best thing and it's okay to let go sometimes and have other people give you feedback. Get over yourself and let's collaborate.
Yeah. I think the other element to this, and this is more psychological, I guess, but post-COVID, humans have a different temperament for just how they live their life. I mean, I had a friend who called me. She lives in DC. She works for National Geographic, and she said, she was telling me how they're making them come back to the office 3 days a week. And she said, I'm actually looking for another job. She works for National Geographic. She's a director there. Why? There's no reason. She loves her job. She loves DC, but she doesn't want to go into the office 3 days a week.
Right.
And so I think people have a different expectation now, or just a different temperament isn't the right word.
Got this, almost like there's like a little bit of an entitlement. Not necessarily an entitlement, but like a why would I want to change my life that I've adapted to? Why would I want to go change back?
Yeah,
they're afraid of the change again, maybe.
It is, but I think it's because people are used to it's almost like our a tolerance for going, traveling an hour there and an hour back, and it's just different now than it was pre-COVID. And the conference ecosystem is draining. I mean, you spend a ton of money. You're going and, there's 1,000 people there and you're trying to network. And it's just, that's a different experience than going to a 100-person mastermind with the people that you talk to once a week that, you want to hang out with, and you're almost recharged from that environment as opposed to drained. Right. And so I think there's a little bit of that at play too. I don't know. This is Sid's hot take.
Or they're too niche focused.
Yeah.
I got told no, I couldn't go to a few conferences because I wasn't an agency owner.
Yeah.
Kiss my, you know what, right?
Well,
that's just that. There's certain those smaller groups
Mitch is
are
on
good
fire.
for that, right?
Yeah.
But if I wanna go learn, and Jason wants to bring me to a conference, and I'm not allowed to go because I'm not an agency owner, how are your employees going to learn?
Well, okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying. We could go down that trail, but I gotta get into something. I want to get into, again, going back to a couple of things we were talking about. Jason having finger on the pulse, and you guys both working together on something. Last year, speaking of conference circuit, first of all, you came up with a word for a category of insurance technology that we've all heard of, InsurTech, but you guys coined your own phrase of ND Tech. So I'm gonna give you a two-part question here, and I'd love to hear how the thought process of the ND Tech, and then tell me a little bit about the experience of the conference last year, because it was an experience more than it was a conference, which I think is what separated what you did. I was there, thought it was fantastic. I have some follow-ups after that, but I didn't want to lose you on too many questions here. But I would love to hear your thoughts on those two things there to start off. Jason, if you want to jump in there first.
Yeah. So there's three really great conferences out there. There's like actually trying to be practical, right? I'm not talking about leadership. I'm not talking about like different types of education. I'm talking about actually using technology. Those are the ones that really roll out there, right? The NetView, HawkSoft, Supplies. Those are kind of the main ones. They're all awesome. The problem with it is it's all big orange, right? It's all deep blue, right? It's all HawkSoft. And then it's like that's cool, but like there's some of us who use big orange, Cast Dog, right? But I need to use other products. And so I need to know how they're going to work together. And then, as I said a minute ago, I need to start getting around other AMS 360 users who use AZ like I do, but also use the other products, right? I need to find. There's no place to really find those people. And so I was sitting in the back of an ACT meeting next to Peter McDonald. And I said to Peter McDonald, Peter, no one's going to create, we need to have a tech industry or tech event in this country that's just for independent insurance agents. So ND Tech is what we created. ND Tech is for two things. ND Tech is about the independent insurance agent and the technology that powers them to profit. That's exactly what it is. Okay, I could go on and on about my reason, and I won't. But Indie Tech was very, very successful its first year. We had 120 people that came, insurance agents. We had about a little over 200 people, vendors and everything. That was way under what Mitch and I thought that we should have got. We wanted to get more, but we learned and we listened to a lot of people. And in the first 72 hours of registration being open this year, we had 150 plus people register in the first 72 hours. So
that's awesome.
And now we're rolling
Congrats.
up almost to
That's
200.
amazing.
So we're
Incredible.
really going, and most people don't buy until the last 60 to 90 days anyway. So
Yep.
we're way ahead of the curve. All of our vendors have said that they're going to come back. We've got this year, Mitch and I wanted to focus on doing, once again, going back to what you said with IAOA, they did a great job. Why were they successful? Here it is. They put agents on the stage, right?
Mhm.
There was
100%.
the difference. And now the difference is we
Yep.
started seeing a lot of the same ones, and there were some other things, right? But we learned from that, Mitch and I did. And we said, wait a minute, if we're going to do it, let's put agents on the stage. So like, for instance, if you're a vendor and you're Vertafore, which is a huge sponsor of Indie Tech, they're coming. Like we told Vertafore, it's great to have your guys' person talk about AZ, but here's what we want. Find 2 or 3 of your power
Mhm.
users, put
Boom.
them on the
Mhm.
stage and show us agents how they're
100%.
using that AZ, right?
Yep.
And so it's like, and all the vendors are loving it. I mean, how
Yep.
great is it to find somebody else to have them talk about how great they're using your
Mhm.
product, right?
Mhm.
And so we really feel as if there's a lot of good people that are going to that. We have technology sessions so that people will be learning in different classrooms. We have, and most of those that are being taught by agents who are building their own bots, who are doing a lot of the different things out there that CJ Hudson Pillar, if you know him,
Mhm.
he's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of our people
Mhm.
there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so we've just got a bunch of really, really, really great people. We're also having an all women's panel that's going to be moderated
Woo!
by Margot Giles. It's going to be
She is.
fantastic.
Oh.
I have a
We're
bromance
ending it.
with.
We're ending the event. See, I've been wanting. I do these events, and I think to myself, how do
I
you
love
get
this guy.
people to stay? Right?
Mhm.
How do you get them to stay?
100%.
And so I called up my boy Reed Holsworth, and I said, Reed, I want to have a CTO panel, and I want you to be the moderator, and I need you to be the guy at the end. And he said, Cass, I'm your guy. Let's do it. So we're going to do a CTO panel on the last day, and it's going to be the last hour and a half. Now the people that are on there, I'm not going to tell you because they're kind of big wigs, but it's going to be ran by Reed. And if you know Reed, we all do. He's a fantastic guy. He's going to do a great job. So really looking forward to that. But yeah, that's what it is. And then, last, what we did is when I wrote my book, Customer Service is Just Foreplay, and I broke the modern customer experience down into 6 sections. I take those 6 sections and I actually break them down into 4 sections, and I put them on the floor of a trade show. So as what you do is if you go through, you can, just like any trade show, you can walk anywhere you want, but we have a designated area that you walk through the prospecting. It'll be a red section where you walk through the prospecting and lead generation, and you see the technology that you would use as an agent to do that type of work. Then you go into the quoting and the pre-sale, and you deal with the different types of stuff there, the onboarding and the servicing. What are all the different types there? And it's all color coded. So as you go through, this year, we'd like to expand it and do some different things. We'll talk about those later, but that's what we do. We try to put the customer experience on the floor for you to walk through and experience the technology as you do. We thought it was cool. People thought it was cool. I think it's neat. We're going to do it again this year.
Yeah, a couple of things, unless you have something
No,
to
go
jump in
ahead.
there. A couple of things I want to say that I loved about it was, one, I think, and I'm glad you were so transparent about, being smaller than you expected. However, the post-conference hype from that conference was massive. Like,
We're on the same brainwave. It's so weird. There
It
were a
is.
million things that you could have said, and I was,
I'm
yeah,
telling
you go,
we've
and
been
then
doing
I'm
this for 3
gonna.
days.
I
We
know.
become Same brain.
I know.
I don't know if you've ever co-hosted with somebody, but you become same brained after 3 days. Like, if we start looking alike, we're going to be in trouble. But so here's the thing. Like, I did.
She is,
Yeah.
not you.
I thought she would look good with a beard, but I guess not. So, point being, there was a lot of hype after, and that had to, first of all, make you guys feel good. But I just saw everywhere I looked for even weeks after, there was so much hype about how great it was. And I got to say, I'm biased because I thought it was really great because Amy Zupon was a part of it, and she killed it
Yeah,
up
she
there.
was.
She
She
killed
did.
it. Everyone did up there, and Peter did a good
Mhm.
job. So great job there. But
Mhm.
can you talk to me for a few minutes as we We still
Actually,
got some time.
I was gonna say, but hold that question because
Shut the-
really quick comment, and then you go, and then you go.
Fine.
Okay, so let me
She's
tee
on
him.
one.
Let me
She's
tee
on
him
one.
up really quick. I know we do have to go, because we got another guest coming in. But here's the thing, guys. When Jason, I want to tell you this live, where everyone else can hear it. When you say, I'm really bummed that we only had 200 people show up for the first year. What I hear is Jason's like hyper performance, crazy. I have crazy high goals, and I wanted 1,000 people there year one. That's like, conferences take time to build.
Yeah.
When we hosted Elevate, we had 200 people the first year, and the thing is, if you can create that hype that Heath is talking about after year one, then it just starts to organically like roll over, right? And conferences don't really mature until year 3 or 4, because that's when you get you start to hit that like tipping point where enough people know about it. You've kind of honed in the experience, and then you've got the sponsors and resources to follow. So honestly, listening and watching the evolution of Indie Tech, I think it's well on its way to becoming one of the best conferences in the industry, and hitting 1,000 people no problem.
And the hype didn't come from you. That's the beautiful thing about it. The hype came from people that were there saying da 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 da. So again, we'll throw it to you now. Thanks for backing me up on that. I thought you were going to derail me, but thanks.
I can't believe you think that I would derail you.
So anyway, talk to me about the post-conference hype. What was that for you guys? How'd that make you feel? What would that mean to you? Talk to me a little bit about that leading into this year.
Well, Mitch and I really didn't know much more than, we didn't know if we were going to do it again. We really didn't. We didn't have any plans. We didn't have anything booked or anything. And then it just like, and I understand.
My heart stopped for a second there.
Having 120 people, it wasn't about the amount of people, but the vendors in there pay good money to come to put the thing on. So you want to have people in front of them is the only thing I was saying.
Yeah,
but the amount of people, all the vendors told us, this was what Mitch and I loved. All the vendors told us, they said, Cass, it may have been the smallest event, but we got the most deep, rich conversations. And if you think about it, these are people flying from across America for the sole purpose of talking about technology. They're not there to come there and find out about a new network that they can join to get new markets or something. It's just about technology. So, the hype was great. And Mitch and I didn't get much time, because as soon as the event was over, the guy that I had at my office left. I needed a CTO. I called him up, said, hey, dude, I need to hire you. And I called Travis too. I said, Travis, he's never going to accept this. And one thing is people thought that we got together and was talking about this during Indie Tech. We never spoke one time of working with
I can vouch for that.
Never one time. Never one time. And then it just came out of necessity, and it worked out. So yes, but there it is.
Dude, that's awesome.
Thank you very much.
The other thing I will say, tell me if I'm wrong, but the rumor and the things I've seen, the emails I've seen, you guys kind of built a little agency council around to help you plan for this. And you have like a planning committee. So you have your agents involved in this, real agencies across the country helping plan this. So that's a big reason.
40 plus.
That's another big reason it's a success, in my opinion.
Including with the vendors, right? Another thing too is like, let's get a user, let's get our attendees involved. No, let's also get our vendors involved, right?
Right. We want them to be involved.
That's been super, super helpful, because we don't care if someone wants to badmouth what we're doing or, hey, this sucked or what. It's not going to hurt our feelings. It's going to help us present a better event the following year. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback, negative or positive, that's helped us hopefully create a positive outcome from those hard points last year. So only as good as the people we're with.
All right, so I'm gonna ask. I got 2 more questions that I have to get out there, but I'm gonna have to put some rails on you. So Mitch, you're gonna have to.
Promise. I know you guys are short.
No, so tell me about 2024, the dates. Tell the audience a little bit about how they could find out more about it, and then I'm gonna wrap up with my final question. But if you could hit me with a little bit, because I want the audience to know, because we are a big supporter and we love what you guys are doing.
Yep. AINDTech.com. That's AINDITECH.com. IndieTech, AINDTech.com. If you go there, the schedule's up now. Mitch and I just put it up. You can get the tickets. Here's the deal. The tickets, Tech shows cost a lot of money. We know, not for Mitchie and I. Mitchie said, he said, Cass, we got to make this affordable. $147.
Oh my
Wow.
God,
There
that's
you go.
insane for the amount of
$147.
value. That's just
And then
that's
for
crazy.
$299, we have what's called Bring Your Office, where you get to bring up to 5 people.
That's
$299.
crazy.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not going to Indie Tech, you are missing out.
We don't know what else to do.
That's
Just
crazy.
because
Mitchie.
Jason and I are a little bit grammarly challenged sometimes. It's actually AIINDIETECH.com. He
I
forgot.
thought I forgot that E.
Yeah,
but
he did. And the attendee registration, he was pretty close. You add a couple dollars in tax to it. We're at $149. So $149.
Gosh, you could pay a salesperson
is an attendee ticket.
You could pay for that out of pocket. I mean, $150. You're going to this conference for like $500-600 in all in, less than $1,000
Yeah.
for sure.
The room rate's like $230 a night, so you come for 2 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you find a real cheap plane ticket, it's less than $1,000.
I don't know how your guys' math is mathing on that, but kudos
Well, we told
to
our
you.
vendors. This is how awesome our vendors are. I said,
Yeah.
listen, I'm going to have to charge. If you want me to get people here, I'm going to have to charge less. And it means that you're going to have to step up to the plate. And
Yeah.
all of them said, Cass, get the people
Well,
in there. Let's do it.
Yeah, we
'Cause we
certainly
know
do.
it's about independent agents and
Yep.
the technology that powers them to profit.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. Man, I love it. Okay, so I want to get this question in. I'm going to jam it
Do
in.
it.
All right,
Hey,
real quick.
Whoever's up next can just
Real
wait.
quick.
Mitch Gibson said they're going to have to wait a second. I'm sorry if it's a CEO of.
Yeah. Well, then that would be.
Now, I want to jam this in because I want to hear
Probably not.
from you guys because y'all are in the same spot, but y'all are in different areas in your career. You've OG been around, new school here. Okay, okay, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. But my question is, okay, so we're in a hard market. We've been in one for 5 years now. I would love your hot take on like are we at halftime and we still have another 4 or 5 years to go in this hard market, or are we like on the tail end of it and we're like in the third quarter? We got another year or two. Where are you guys seeing hard market? Where are we at right now? What's your thoughts on it? I'll start with you, Jason, old school guy, and I want to hear from Mitch after that.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to keep this to like 10 to 15 seconds. As I sit right now, I don't think that interest rates are going to go back to 2% for a long time. I don't know if that's 3 years or 7 years, but I don't see it. Why does that have to do with it? Rates are usually pretty following the interest rates. Insurance rates follow the interest rates a lot. And so that's what I have to say. I do not think that you're going to see much. I think we're going to probably see this hard market for a little bit. Now, Travelers did just come out with their first quarter reportings, and they actually are making money. So that's a good thing. The only thing I have to say to all the carriers is if you start coming out where you're making money, I don't expect rate decreases, but I do expect you to stop the rate increases. That I just got to say that. But that's the way that I see that staying. I do see the hard market probably for another 2 or 3 years. And if you don't see the opportunity in the hard market, we have at the Insurance Alliance, we're okay with the hard market.
Dude, I was going to have a
coming.
B. I was going to hit a part B in there, but you already answered it. So yeah, I agree with
Keep
you.
coming.
Mitchie, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
My with Jason, same thing. If I looking on the housing industry and the getting a mortgage and whatnot, we're not going to see any drastic rate decreases. But what we're seeing is mortgage and these mortgage and real estate advisors and companies coming up with creative ways of like there's like waivers for an appraisal waivers, right? That's a big thing right now that's stopping people from closing on a home is they're matching up with the value of the loan and what's being requested, what's being sold. So I see some creativity trying to help offset some of that quote unquote hard market. I don't like the fact that it could come back to bite them in the end of the, sometime down the road. But another thing is we consider it a hard market for a couple of reasons. One, cost, but two, hard market also puts more work on us as employees and our employees and agency owners, right? We now have to shop more. We now have to go check out different carriers, or we've got to go make policy changes to try to keep our insurance company.
Carriers are going insolvent. We got to move our book.
Yeah.
So I think the employment of, my workload was here for the last 3 years. Now my workload is massive. I think it's just adjusting and getting creative and finding ways to still be the same agency by still achieving what you were responsible to do as a service provider for them. And that's still shop them around and give them the best option if you're able to.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the hardest things about having two of my favorite people on a podcast and sitting next to one of my best friends is I don't want this to end, but I got to. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us on the VIP podcast today. Go find us and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube or wherever you listen. Thank you so much, and we will hang out with you on the next one.
And I was going to say, before you do anything else, before you even stop listening to this podcast, go to AIindtech.com and just check out the website. You know what? Even get in touch with Heath or I if you want to talk about the experience. I know Mitch and Jason are always willing to share, a little bit more behind the scenes. But for less than $1,000, you cannot be around a better group of people at a more unique experience and be a part of building a really different kind of conference. So go check it out, guys. I really, I'm going to put my personal, take my Vertafore hat off, Sid Rose talking here. Yeah, I'm signing off on this one. Go check it out.
Thank you.
No two guys that love the industry more than these two.
Yeah. Yep.
So, guys, again, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next one. Well, that was a great episode.
Amazing. It was an amazing episode.
I really enjoyed that content. Guys, if you enjoyed that content and you want more of it, make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Nah, dude. You got to tell them to crush it. Crush that subscribe button, guys.
All right. Whether you want to crush it, smash it, hit it.
Bop it?
Sure, we could bop it. Either way, guys, we don't want you to miss another episode. We enjoy spending time with you, the VIP.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.